Machar Colony is one of the largest Kachi Abadis, informal settlements in Karachi. When we started working on abandonment, the idea was to begin with doing research on it, because we feel that, before you propel into any kind of project, you need to be doing your groundwork and knowing what the reality is, and that can only happen if you're out on the field asking questions and getting data together. So we started doing research on abandonment in Machar Colony. It is a population of about 700 to 800,000 people. And we set up a mother and child healthcare center to begin with, which was 5 years ago. That period of time, while we were running this clinic for X amount of years, we noticed that there were a lot of children out in the streets. So as far as the children are concerned, that when they're not employed, they're just out on the streets running around. There's a lot of gambling. You see little children that are playing at street corners, and they start with playing with these tokens. I've actually confiscated, when we started KHEL, the children used to come in with their gambling equipment.
Tahira, how does a 5-year-old child gamble?
They gamble on, it's in exchange for something. It doesn't always have to be money. So it could be in exchange for a toy, or it could be in exchange for food items, or it could be in exchange for whatever that they have. Children in Machar Colony start gambling on the streets at the age of 5. The reason for that is because a family consists normally of 8 to 10 children. The parents need to decide which ones can go to school and which ones can't.
लेटा रहा उसको कोई आवाज़ नहीं आई, खर्राटों की आवाज़ आई और बहुत जल्द उसको चिड़ियों की आवाज़ आई। चिड़ियों की क्यों आवाज़ आई? चिड़ियाँ कब चहचहाती हैं? सुबह में, क्योंकि सुबह हो रही थी।
The ones that do not go to schools are left to fend for themselves either on the streets, or they work in shrimp peeling factories, earning a livelihood for their families. So we created a safe space for children in Machar Colony, and we called it KHEL.
How much does a child earn in a day peeling shrimps?
It differs. I mean, they're paid by the hour. It could be range from 50 rupees to, 200 a day. Okay, you're teaching our children, how to play games. You're teaching them how to, behavior changes there, but they need to know how to read and write. So that was something that came from the community. So we slowly built up. So now we have an arts and crafts component, which they do regularly. We have a gymnastics team, which was again a challenge that came about. And we thought that would be a huge challenge with the community. Gymnastics not being a sport that would be appreciated for something that women would be doing.
7.
We got permission from the parents, so we have a girls gymnastics team today, which is one of a kind. I think anywhere here, I do not know of a proper girls gymnastics team that is focusing on gymnastics. So we have a community that's Bengali and that's Pathan. We had both kinds of children coming into KHEL and being together. There was a lot of discrimination from both ends towards each other. There was a lot of negative language. There was a lot of perceptions that existed about the certain communities in both places, and those were communicated by the children in very violent terms and languages. And today there is that unity, so that is, I think that is also a huge change that has happened as far as KHEL is concerned. And each time I see them, for example, the last time I was there, I was standing, and one of the kids, I sat down on the carpet, and one of the kids ran up and she got me a chair and she said, "You sit here." I started crying. I was like, okay, I mean, look at the change. These are kids who would have stampeded over me a year ago. So there is, the behavior change, the way they meet people, the way they interact with outsiders, their connection with things, how they view the world, how, these are all things that to me are very, very emotional. It's each child in their own space and watching each one of them develop and grow and heading towards wherever life might be taking them, and whatever we can do to be part of that. At the end of the day, everybody's out there on their own, but it's what we can potentially equip them with. That's something that we can impart. That's about it.